Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast with me, Trevor. Kyle's out, so I brought along our good homie, Chris. What's
Hello,
up?
everyone. Hey, dude, how are you?
Good, man. Good. How are you doing? I haven't,
good, dude.
talked to you in a minute. Like, we text and all that stuff. I haven't talked to you in a minute.
I know you're just sending me, like, recipes all the time for pasta salad. And honestly, like, I get it. Love a good pasta salad.
My TikTok and my Instagram saved messages are pretty much all recipes. Because that's like what I do with my wife. I just like show her recipes at night.
Oh, dude. Dude, I regularly be trying the TikTok ones. They're great.
Oh, it's awesome. We made if you haven't done this yet and you like sushi / salmon, just the rice cooker with the salmon on top. You just cook it all in one and then you just mash it up and you mix it together. Dude, it's bomb.
And that's good?
It would surprise you. I'll send you.
Dang. Yes, please do. I love sushi. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, listen, it's cooked salmon. Like, I'm probably like over exaggerating how good this really is, but it was super easy and like it was good. So
yeah, man, love a rice cooker too.
Oh yeah, dude, so great, so great.
So good.
You were just out in Nebraska?
I was in Omaha. Yeah.
I mean,
dude, honestly, shockingly fun. I was maybe just because I had really low expectations. Yeah, I maybe like low expectations. Yeah, but like I was expecting corn and maybe like some flat lands. It was bomb as hell. I loved it. It was so fun.
So, other than the show, I saw you did a few things. What was kind of like? Tell the people what they should do in Omaha, Nebraska.
The one thing I truly did not know till I was there is that they have a world-rated zoo that's like in the top zoos of the planet. And I was expecting, like maybe they've got some goats or something. No, dude, it was giant. Like I used to live in San Diego and the San Diego Zoo's nuts. This was as good as the San Diego Zoo.
Sick.
They've created entire atmospheres and environments in these giant buildings. And I was like, in Omaha. Yeah, dude, it was wild.
Dude, no regulations in Omaha.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a good name for a song, dude. No regulations in Omaha. Yeah,
there we go.
It was wild.
First grade, and then the show, of course. Single.
Dude, I'm a whole EP about Omaha.
There we go.
But the show was sick.
Did you see?
So my buddy's playing a band called Lake Verity. They're a metalcore band out of Pittsburgh, but they were playing with Powerball, Zashed, and Writhe in Fear. And I'm also friends with Writhe in Fear. And I'm also friends with Powerball. So, which I did not know until being there. Like, the singer for Powerball and I have been online buddies for probably 5 years. But then he like he quit social media like a year ago, and I had no idea he joined this band. So then after they played, he walked up and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Chris." And I was like, "Hello, sir." And he was like, look me like right in the face. "Do you recognize me?" And I was like, "No." But he'd shaved his head. It was all different. Then I was like, "Oh my gosh." So that was cool. Great band, Powerball. If you need a great new hardcore band, Powerball rocks.
Just like straight hardcore. What are they doing?
They're closer to Beatdown, but Beatdown. Imagine Beatdown with deathcore vocals, because they do a lot of like high pitch vocals. Yeah.
Oh, sick. Interesting.
Yeah. Great band.
Interesting.
And they actually put out a split with Lake Verity. So.
Oh, dope. How is the Omaha scene?
I mean, as big as you'd expect. It was this concert was in half of a strip mall. And the room we were in was like probably 20 feet by 10 feet. And there's probably like, I'm going to say 15 people there that weren't in bands. But the room couldn't hold much more. So it was like pretty full room. But a local band opened and they were fantastic. They were called, I can't think of it now. But they were really good too. And they brought a bunch of their homies. So very violent show. Super fun. Yeah.
Sick. Violent on each other. All the homies just beating each other.
Absolutely. The amount of crowd killing was very healthy. And the friend I went with, his name is Zach. He had never been to like a DIY show before. So I was oh, buddy, this is going to rock your world. You're going to be like way prefer this over arenas and big venues and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha. Sick.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's dope. Well, what about new music? What new music? You are constantly sending new stuff. So I
Yeah.
imagine that you have some recommendations and
Oh
tours.
man,
Like, let's talk about that.
I am all over the place these days. For hardcore, I have become obsessed with the band Bad Beat out of
Okay.
Detroit. Oh my gosh. Okay, question. Did you ever listen to Gulch? Were you a Gulch guy?
I mean, I've listened to them.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't listened to them enough to say I'm a
Yeah.
Gulch guy. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've listened to Gulch.
Because I feel like Bad Beat is like next version of Gulch. It's very just like fast hardcore. The songs are like 45 seconds long, very loud. And the I mean, did you see the show they played at the This Is when it wasn't This Is Hardcore? Was it like FYA? Just barely that like
Oh no, it
people
was
went nuts for.
Tied Down. It
It
was
was
Tied
Tied
Down,
Down,
right?
yep. Because they're
Yeah.
from Detroit. Yeah, that's right. That I heard over and over again was the craziest set of the entire time. I heard that from like Colin Young said it was the craziest set of the whole time.
I mean, listen, if you're the hometown band and stuff
Oh
and
yeah,
everyone's going off for you, like I'm sure it was.
totally.
Like that was the one thing about Furnace Fest last year when we went. Even though it was the local bands who like opened each day,
Oh yeah,
the homies showed out. You know what I mean?
totally.
Like they had fun.
Like when No Cure plays Furnace Fest, it's always fun because it's like down the
Yeah.
street from them.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm talking like I'm even talking the young bands like Twisted Luck played.
Hmm.
Commodity's older, but they played and that was really
Yeah.
good. Wielded Still, Cold Hard Still,
Love Wielded
or
Still,
not Wielded, Cold Hard Still. Excuse me,
but Wielded Still
Wielded.
played the year I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, Wielded's dope. And then there was a Double Tap. Double Tap was the
Double
other like
Tap. Yep.
young band, and that's the thing, man. Like these kids are probably 16 to 18
Oh
years
yeah.
old, and they're just out and having fun. It's like,
It's
yeah, I
awesome.
remember doing that. So
Right? How would it be to be that age and be all that spry and youthful? Um,
right.
Other new music I've been jamming. There is this band I've become obsessed with. They're called Model Actors with a Z, and they make like I don't know a better definition for this besides like electronic post punk. Uh, but it's very weird, but freakishly catchy. They just played the Late Show with Stephen Colbert like
Okay.
this last week. And I've become obsessed. They're great. And they just played Outbreak Fest in the UK with a bunch of hardcore bands. But they're
Oh,
like a
really?
post-punk goth thing. Yeah. But they're great. I love them. And then probably the last thing I've become obsessed with is if anyone follows me on the internet, you know that I love anime slam, and
Okay.
it is the most bizarre niche of slam metal. But I love it. The anime slam rocks. And there is a band called Bubblegum Chainsaw that put out like one of the best albums I've heard this entire year. Uh, so I would highly recommend the new Bubblegum Chainsaw album. It's fantastic. And it's just
All
one
right.
dude. It's wild. Yeah.
Listen, man, I'll leave that stuff to you. Like, like I don't know. It's cool. I appreciate that. Like yourself, I appreciate people who can just go do their thing, make the music they want to make, and stuff like that. And the cool thing about the time we live in is that you can get that music
Totally.
out to the world, right?
Absolutely.
Even more easily than the MySpace era, all that kind of stuff. You just put
Yep.
your stuff on there, and it's there. And so, like, more power to you. And if you're into bubblegum chainsaw, like, dope, like, have fun.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
but
man.
along those lines, not the bubblegum chainsaw lines, but guys doing things on their own. I shot you over Midnight Eyes.
Oh, dude.
That was like 3-4 weeks ago or whatever.
Yep.
That kind of goth rock band.
Yes.
So we met Alex. He was playing bass for Die Young when I was out there with Kyle.
Okay.
And so Alex Longoria does this. You gotta give me the actual kind of definition, but it's just like goth rock,
Yeah.
right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the latest EP is called Come to Life.
Yep.
It's super solid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's someone who's playing the kind of music they want to play, and you would never expect like this dude is filled in for like Will to Live. He started Realms of Death. He filled in for Die Young, and then
Yeah,
he
dude.
puts out this like independent or individual
Yeah.
goth rock album. Like it's
It's so
super dope.
cool. It's so cool, dude. What have you been
Yeah.
listening to, by the way? Speaking of Midnight Sleep, other stuff.
Ah, man. Well, we did our last episode was the Acacia Strain. So
Yes.
I spent 20 plus hours listening to the Acacia Strain.
The
Probably
best
not good
band.
for my mental health. in all reality. Like, let's be honest about it.
I love the
Uh,
Acacia Strain.
I do
Such a
too.
good band.
But here's the thing. I love
Yeah.
the Acacia Strain, and I knew the lyrics that everyone knows. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
some of them are brutal, but
Of
you go
course.
and read the lyrics, and you're like, I can't believe I just filled my head with this. Like,
Yeah, dude.
it is pretty over the top. So
Right.
I'm a huge fan. I really like the Acacia Strain. I said it in
Right.
the episode though, I'm not one to typically just go throw an Acacia Strain album on just to jam to during the day, but I
Right.
love their shows. So it was interesting. It was a good time.
Yeah,
But
man.
that
And
took up
their
a
shows
lot
are
of my time.
wild. Yeah.
Oh, so wild, so fun. I didn't say this on the episode, but when we were there, we watched your homie, my homie, get
Yep.
just KO'd, like
Yep.
bad, to the point where like we're like in the pit, people are surrounding him, and people are like waving for the band to
Yeah, dude.
stop, and Vincent's up there just like, what do you want me to do? And so he just like keeps going. So luckily he was all good. Everyone was
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
It was great. So
That was a wild time. That was a great show, though. Acacia Strain
oh,
is
so
like
good.
never disappointing live. The first time I saw them was when they were on tour with After the Burial, and Acacia Strain was doing all of Continent, and After the Burial was doing all of Rare Form, I believe.
Oh
I'm
dang.
not
Yeah.
I'm not like the biggest After the Burial guy. I love that one, but like once you get after that, I'm not super well
Sure.
versed. But it was a great show.
Sick. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, I mean, they're always so violent, so
So
aggressive,
good.
like
Yep.
so fun. So
Yeah, man.
uh but and then I've listened to a lot of Combust lately.
Great album.
So
That
I
new
went
Combust.
down, yeah, Belly of the Beast is sick.
So good.
And I'll be honest, like, so Combust, modern New York hardcore. I've listened to Pain of Truth. I've listened to Missing Link and stuff, which is the heavy New York style. I started going back a little bit, right?
Okay.
So I listened to some Madball earlier this week. I listened to some Crown of Thorns. I listened
Nice.
to Scarhead, right? Because like Combust has the song with Danny Diablo on it. So I was
Yep.
like, I don't know if I've ever like really listened to, like I have, but I don't know if I've like listened to a full Crown of Thorns album, a
Yeah.
full Scarhead album. And it's New York hardcore.
Yeah, dude.
So like it's
Which is your
interesting.
favorite flavor? Favorite flavor. Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I understand it. I totally get the significance, the importance of it,
Yeah.
everything that comes with New York hardcore.
Yeah.
It's not typically my favorite. I do really like the new Combust album. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome. But there's just, I don't know, there's something about the
Yeah.
hip hop influence and the flair to it that it just doesn't sit like as well with me. Not like bad, but like I'm not a new metal guy, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't love hip hop stuff. I don't love rap
Yeah.
stuff and everything. So the cadence of it and the way that they phrase things and stuff, it's interesting. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I've listened
you've
to
got
the
that.
Beastie
You've
Boys
got
over
that.
more of that stuff.
Which is my
So.
favorite New York hardcore band is the Beastie Boys.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
Love them. Yeah. Throw down for the Beastie Boys. Yeah, dude.
Dude, you gotta love that comparison. So
You gotta love it. That was great.
but dude, well, I really appreciate you jumping on.
Of course.
I had a different plan. It got canceled last minute. Totally understandable. One of the homies, they're actually on their way out to the East Coast. And so they're just like, listen, it just like too much
timing.
stuff came up. I was like,
Yeah.
all good. So threw it out there. You jumped on. I said, Chris, you are picking what we are doing. You sent me a list about 15 things, and there was about 2 where I was like, I can probably do that. So here we are.
It was just blood on the dance floor over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't cut myself that
Jeffree
many times.
Star. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Trevor, that was terrible.
my bad. So, but here we are. Listen,
Here we are.
you put the Wonder Years on there.
Yes.
And this is a band that I absolutely love. They are one of, listen, I probably have 50 top threes, but they truly are up there in terms of one of the more important bands to me. And
Absolutely.
A band I listen to regularly. I turn these guys on at least weekly, if
Same.
not like multiple times throughout the week. So,
Yeah.
and we haven't done a band together. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let's do the Wonder Years and screw
Okay.
Kyle because Kyle doesn't like the Wonder
I
Years.
know it breaks my heart because
So
I would say the Wonder Years are one of the best pop punk bands ever of the entire genre since it started. Yeah.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely love the Wonder Years. And I'm going to start here with this because
Okay. Let's do it.
I've actually been thinking about this episode pretty much since we started this podcast 2 years
Yeah.
ago. I knew we were going to
Dang.
do it. I
Yeah.
knew that it was a band I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give them, hopefully, the justice that they deserve. And,
Yes.
we're throwing this together an hour later after we talked about it. So it probably won't do it justice. But I've thought about this for a long time.
Yeah.
So this band starts when?
Like, oh my gosh, 2008?
Yeah, like it's
Somewhere
like
in there.
right around the tail end of like high school for us, right?
Yep.
And I caught them when they started with their second album,
Okay.
The Upsides. I
Yeah.
didn't catch that first one, which I don't know how many people caught that first one. Like you probably
I
had to live
mean,
on the East Coast.
East Coast in a
Most
basement
people,
somewhere.
yeah, most people
Yeah.
started with the Upsides, right?
Yep.
So I went to, I'm trying to remember what this show was. And
Okay.
for the longest time, I forgot the Wonder Years was on it
Yeah.
because I think I told you this. Like we talked about when we went and saw the Wonder Years
Yeah.
last year. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I kind of thought that was the first time I had seen them. But then this show popped up. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
I was
Yeah.
at this. It was, what was it? Was it Newfound Glory, Set Your Goals, The
Oh my
Wonder
gosh.
Years, and 4 Years Strong? It was like
That
the ultimate
rocks.
pop punk show.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And this was, I had just been introduced to them. I'm like,
Okay.
I don't really know who they are. I'm going for Set Your Goals and 4 Years Strong. That's who
Yeah.
I'm going for at that time. But they blew me away.
Yeah.
Quickly. The Upsides became a favorite album of mine.
Totally.
And this band, from the time you're graduating high school, with the Upsides, with Suburbia, those two albums perfectly encapsulate that period of life.
Oh,
Perfectly.
100%.
Perfectly.
It's literally written for like leaving high school, starting college era.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you wander into the greatest generation and No Closer to Heaven. And can I tell you, this is the period of my life. I
Yeah.
had my biggest faith crisis. I had my biggest questioning, figuring out who I was as a person. Do I believe in religion? Do I not believe in religion? How crappy
Yeah.
are people in this world?
Right.
Those two albums encapsulate that perfectly.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Then you have a period of just not knowing who you are. Sister cities. They don't know who the freak they are. Like,
Yeah.
And then The Hum Goes On Forever is just like the perfect comeback. They're singing about their kids, all of this stuff.
Yep.
I'm like, I've got kids now. This band has traveled with me since 2008
I
to
love
today.
That. Yeah.
That is just like the soundtrack for exactly what my life has encompassed.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome,
so
dude.
this band, like I said, there's been no band that I feel like I've related to as much as the Wonder Years, strictly because they, and this is the dumbest thing that you've probably ever heard, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
People can call me corny. No, like that. I feel like a band has been like, what's the soundtracking my life since 2008.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Dude, I don't think that's that corny at all. Because one thing that rocks about okay, fair enough. Well, your favorite band is Korn, so it makes sense.
Right.
I think one thing that rocks about the Wonder Years compared to a lot of the pop punk, because the other thing you have to remember with the Wonder Years is that they came out of the time where like neon pop punk was really cool. So you had like All Time Low and The Main getting really big, and it was fine because it was all about like boys are hot and they have really bad haircuts and they wear tight clothes. And the Wonder Years are these like losers that just come out of nowhere. But what I love about the Wonder Years is their lyrics are so specific and like really well written that you can relate to that way more than just a song about how much you like the summer and hanging out with your friends. Like, you know, you have songs in the pop punk world that are just like, you know, going to the town, no one understands, gonna get my pizza and pals. And then the Wonder
Yeah.
Years is like, I hate when I'm eating a hoagie in Liberty Square Park and no one talks to me because I don't like myself. And it's like,
Right.
that is so much more fun to relate to. Absolutely, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I am a huge fan of this band. We could talk about these guys for hours. We'll try to
Yes.
limit it. Uh,
Okay.
Dan Campbell is, in my opinion, one of the greatest lyricists ever for exactly what you're saying,
Yep.
right? The way that he sets, like, you can literally like almost picture a movie in your head for
Yeah.
different albums. You can picture exactly what he's saying in terms of, it's dumb as it sounds, sitting in the diner,
Yeah.
riding bikes, all that kind of stuff. And then like in the last album, The Hum Goes On Forever, I can't tell you how many times I've laid on my kid's floor in the dark and all you see is the green light from the smoke alarm. Right?
Oh, I love that.
Like
Yeah.
it's just like he visually puts you back
Yeah.
in places, back into emotional settings through his lyrics. And then on top of that, he's just a fan. Like he sounds so good. My
Yeah.
wife
Great voice.
does not like his voice, which I think she's
What?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like he's
Maybe
the
she's
song,
jealous of him for how you
maybe,
feel about him. Yeah. Yeah.
probably. He's
Yeah.
the songbird of our generation. What movie is that from? But
Yeah. The other thing that rocks about the Wonder Years lyrics, they age really well. A lot of pop punk, when you're not 15 anymore, you realize like, oh, these lyrics are cringy as hell. But the Wonder Years like get better with age. I swear. You listen to the upsides and you're like, this is still poetry. Yeah.
well, it is because it takes you back to that time,
Totally.
right?
Yep.
They are pretty cringy. Like, let's
Oh,
just be honest.
whatever. Oh,
They're,
whatever.
they're
It's
pretty
pop punk.
cringy.
They're all
Like,
cringy. Yeah.
like I hate your bad tattoos and secondhand stories. Those anecdotes that you wrote last month. Like straight up, Melrose Diner
Oh.
was the song that turned me on to these guys.
Oh,
That
I love
music
that.
video with
Oh,
them
the
doing the
wrestling.
wrestling in the backyard and
Yeah,
stuff like
dude.
that. That was the time where I was just like, okay, like I'm on board with these guys. They're
Yeah,
goofy, they're fun, the music bangs. Like I'm super down with
totally.
them. So let's just talk about the
Great.
upsides real quick. Okay.
Absolutely.
You kick it off. Tell me when you first heard this, what was the song that like stood out to you, or what made you
Oh
want
man.
to at the next point listen to Suburbia?
Yeah. I think with the upsides, what you said is really like resonates with me in the sense that like, oh my gosh, this relates so well to my time of life. And that is actually the song My Last Semester.
Okay.
Because it's a song about, for those who don't know, it's a song about entering college and how immature people are and how much you dislike the people around you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I dislike how much this is about me. Um, and the music for the upsides, it has this like really upbeat style with really depressing lyrics, especially
Yes.
like Melrose Diner. Like it's a very sad song. It's a song about accepting the fact that someone doesn't like you. But like it's so beautiful. But what I really loved about the upsides is the way that they tie back All My Friends Are in Bar Bands, the last song, how
Yeah.
they use snippets of other songs to make that this just monster of a way to end that album. That's when I was like, oh, they're very talented. Because you can write pop punk, it's not that hard. But like to actually like make it impressive is very difficult.
So I'm glad you said that because they actually do that as a theme throughout a lot of their
They
albums,
do.
right? And that is the first time All My Friends Are in Bar Bands that they do the callbacks. And it's
Yeah.
people who I don't know who the people are who are doing the guest spots in there. I've never looked it
I
up.
don't either. Yeah.
But I'm thinking they're from other bands. I don't
I would
think it's
assume.
just the dudes in the band, right? So,
I don't think so. It
yeah,
sounds like other people, but I don't know. The
right.
Wonder Years has technically has like two backup singers, so I
I
don't
mean,
know.
there's 6 of them in there. They
I
probably
know.
all sang at some point. So,
Seriously.
uh, but yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. And the one thing about like my last summer or my last semester, excuse me, if you get the extended edition, they do Logan Circle and New Hope.
Yes.
So I've got to ask you this because
Yeah.
this is another thing that has super resonated with me
Okay.
with the Wonder Years is they were one of the first bands that I remember experimenting with their songs
Oh, okay.
and changing it up to where like you went from a pop punk banger. I didn't know you could put it onto piano, add lyrics, change lyrics around, manipulate it in a way that it made even more emotion come out of it. Right?
Absolutely.
Like,
All right, so I'm going to say something very controversial yet
okay,
brave.
okay.
I am that guy that hates acoustic pop punk. I hate it. So many people loved when, oh my gosh, guys, Neck Deep put on an acoustic version. This Wild Life, they play acoustic songs. I'm like, this shit sucks. This crap sucks. But like the Wonder Years is my one exception where I feel like when they can strip a song down, it like is beautiful. And
Okay.
like you said, it's because they're adding, I think it's Dan's voice especially. I
Yeah.
feel like it changes. Like his voice takes a different level when it's not the usual pop punk bangers. It's beautiful. It's fantastic.
Okay. So I don't agree with you, but I do agree with
Okay.
you, okay? Because
Okay.
I do love acoustic
That's
pop
you and
punk.
me. You say that all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
I do love acoustic pop punk. But this isn't acoustic pop punk. This is
No.
a reimagine, right?
Reimagine. That's a great way to say it.
So the Wonder Years do it, 4 Year Strong does it,
Yep.
and the only other like outside of this genre that I could think of was I recently watched Parkway play with an orchestra. Did you
Oh,
see
okay.
those
I
videos?
did not. Uh-uh.
They are straight up with an orchestra. They're in suits and tuxes, and they're
Yeah.
playing it, I'm pretty sure, at the Sydney Opera House.
That's crazy.
It is insane. But for
So
a
is it
band,
still like metal sounding with an
yeah.
orchestra? Dang,
Yeah.
interesting.
And they were playing oh, what was the song? It was heavy. It was off of the second albums.
Is it Boneyards?
It may have been Boneyards.
Mm.
You'll have to look it up. It
I
is
will. That sounds awesome.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And like it is like modern day, this is gonna sound weird,
I'm so
modern
stoked.
day opera.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like opera, right, is telling a story
Yep.
in a very loud, very boisterous, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was they have the choir behind them. They have a beautiful back setting and stuff like
Yeah.
that they've created. And Winston's up there, and he is just so commanding, and
That's
like
awesome.
just screaming, heavy, heavy screaming.
Yeah.
And everyone's like dressed up in suits and stuff like that. It
That's
was
so
dope.
fun.
It was so
I
dope.
love that, dude.
But back to the Wonder Years.
Yes.
There's two bands, right? There's two bands, the Wonder Years and 4 Year Strong. That's part of the reasons I love them. Is both bands know how to change their songs
Yep.
into a different genre. Like 4 Year Strong even tongue in cheeks it and has an album called "Some of You Will Like This, Others of You Will Not."
Yeah.
Right? Like it's awesome. One
Yeah.
of my goals since I've started getting vinyl is to get all the Burst in Decays and
Oh, that's
build
sick, dude.
the
Yeah.
flower. Right? I want to frame them
Yeah.
all, and I want to do that. But
That's
anyways,
so fun. You should.
I
That's
don't.
awesome.
I don't think it'll ever happen because the first two are like $300 an album.
They'll
So
repress them.
I
In the
sure
modern
hope
day,
so.
they'll repress them. Oh, don't worry, they will. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm with you on that. The one
Really
other,
quick though,
yeah,
I want to say about the upsides. So I went and saw the Wonder Years when they were on tour here in 2022 when they were doing the anniversary tour of the Upsides and Suburbia when
yeah,
they played them together. And when they played All My Friends Are in Bar Bands, all the other singers from the opening bands came out and did the guest
sick.
vocals. And so there was like 5 singers together. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. I just want to go back to
Who
that.
who was playing with them? Do you
It
remember?
was Origami Angel, Save Face, and it was supposed to be Spanish love songs, but their van broke down on the way to Salt Lake. So it was just Save Face, who has 2 singers, and Origami Angel, who has 1 singer.
Okay.
And then you had Soupy up there. So
Okay. Sick.
yeah,
Sick.
I love those bands too.
The one other thing is like, when you're young and you just want to show people your music and stuff like that.
Absolutely. That never changed. Yeah.
So I have a crazy aunt who I used to work
Okay.
for. And
Okay.
she used to have this big Jeep that we used to drive around. And I would like chauffeur her around and stuff like that in addition
Yeah.
to my job and stuff. But she is like super anti-religious and like would always try to
Okay.
get us to like drink and do all sorts of stuff. And
Yeah.
so my favorite thing, I showed her Dynamite Shovel, the campfire version.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
are the lyrics? What is it? These small town minds stay small. The world has
Yep.
evolved to stay in your shithole. We're
Yep.
all moving on.
Yep.
Like it's It was great, and she loved it, and she was like dancing, like singing along to it. I'm like, she's like 60 years old. I'm like, all right, dope.
That rocks,
So
dude.
it was way fun.
Oh my gosh, I just forgot that New Year's Eve with Carl Weathers is on the upside. That's my favorite Wonder Years song.
That's your favorite Wonder Years song?
Yeah, it's because it's got the wildest lyric. Towards the bridge, it says,
No, that's on
"We've got
Suburbia.
worse than." Oh, that's on Suburbia.
It's on Suburbia, isn't it?
No, dude. New Year's Eve with Carl Weathers is on upsides.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
You're good, pal. They're both fantastic albums. Easy to confuse the two. There's a lyric that says we've got worse intentions and they've got better haircuts. And I think that is the most oddly specific lyric on the planet. Yeah.
Okay. The one other lyric from this that is always stuck with me is in This Party Sucks, when it's the kid with the dreads tells me he's smarter on acid.
Yes,
and it's just so funny because like, I knew kids who were like that. Who
100%.
were like, dude, I'm so much better doing this stoned. And I'm just like, all right, like you do you, dude, right?
Especially at our high school, we had several white kids with dreads that were like,
exactly.
Man, it makes me think better.
Yeah, exactly. So okay. We go from the Wonder Years to Suburbia.
Yes.
Suburbia definitely has some of the absolute top Wonder Years songs to 100%. Ever come out. Most people consider this their number one album, right? It kind of set their this made their mark.
Totally.
Okay? This is not my favorite album.
Okay. Where would you rank it?
I mean, it's still up there, right?
Okay.
Like, here's the thing. Man, we're going to get to this early. This is going to be weird.
Okay.
My favorite album is No Closer to Heaven.
Okay. Great album. I'm not going to deny that.
Like, there's way too much depth to that. There's so much, like, emotion and there's, like, trauma in that album. And, you know, like, I've related to that album heavily.
Yeah, dude.
Just with some stuff that's happened in my life and everything.
Totally.
The Wonder Years The Greatest Generation is number 2.
Okay.
The Greatest Generation forever was number 1 for me.
Yeah.
And then with just the way that life progressed and everything, No Closer to Heaven, it skipped it. I put Suburbia and the Upsides neck and neck at 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
which is fair. They're always like put together. So
yeah. And here's the thing, right? Is this was, like we talked about, the more immature albums, right? Yeah. If you want to say it that way. I just think that there's a little bit more in-depth conversation happening on both The Greatest Generation and on No Closer to Heaven. That being said, you cannot tell me that Came Out Swinging, Local Man Ruins Everything.
Oh my gosh.
Coffee Eyes, like all these
Summers
songs,
in PA.
Summers in PA. Dude, we were at that show singing our lungs out. You know what I mean? It's incredible. It's so good. I will never not love this album.
But it doesn't have to be your favorite. Because like we're talking about a band that like all of their albums are genuinely great. So even if it's not your favorite, I shouldn't say all. I'm taking that back. Most of their albums are really, really great. But like, so even if it's not your favorite, it's still a freaking great album. That's the magic of the Wonder Years.
So tell me about, so I've given you my ranking.
Yeah.
Where are you at? Because like these first 4 albums, typically there's some order of these 4 that are going to fall into line, right?
Yeah.
So weirdly,
I think Suburbia is my favorite one. Like, I feel like it's a mix of that's because I really like the Upsides, but I feel like Suburbia is when I was like, okay, this band rocks. Because like you said, too, for those that were there, Suburbia is when they were the Upsides is when they were an underrated band. And Suburbia is when they like hit the scene, when they were playing Warped Tour constantly and when they were on every tour. And like Suburbia was huge for them. And you know, those music videos they did for Suburbia were huge on YouTube and got shared a million times. So I would put Suburbia as my number 1 because I like it the most. And then I would probably put, it's so hard, dude, because I didn't have this answer finalized for you. Probably Greatest Generation number 2, No Closer to Heaven 3, and Upsides 4, but that changes all the time. Yeah. Because like you said, like we're talking about 4 phenomenal albums. And as you're in different parts of your life, you're going to relate to different things.
Yeah.
Like in Suburbia, my favorite song is called "And Now I'm Nothing." It's the last song on the record, and I think it is the most like beautifully written expression about how much you dislike other people's opinions. Because, like Trevor said, like you said, there's a an immaturity that's really relatable about the first two albums. It's not like Blink 182, early Blink 182 immaturity. It's just more like inexperience about life, where
Exactly.
you're sort of like bugged that people are telling you what to do, and you think it's funny to joke around with your friends. It's not like fart jokes, but it's a lot of like, I just don't feel like anyone gets it. The Greatest Generation, No Closer to Heaven and Beyond is where I've kind of found myself, I found my people, but I still have problems with existence as an adult. Um, so like in Suburbia, there's a lyric. It is, fun fact for all those listening, is the only lyric I've ever considered getting tattooed on me, because I think music tattoos are dangerous ground, because there's people with lost profits tattoos. Um,
Just saying.
there's a yeah, just saying. There's a lyric on "And Now I'm Nothing" that says, "I'll put my life back together in silence while writing songs on Molly's guitar in Suburbia. Um, Stop pushing. I know what I'm doing." And I think that is such a good like love letter to, I don't like the pressure of the people around me. Because Trevor and I grew up in the same area. And one thing I really dislike about the area we grew up in is that it's a lot of people telling you that they know what you should be like someday. I'm not even talking about like religion, just like there's this cultural mold that I've always disliked, of this is the type of man you need to be, the type of things you need to like, dress like, act like, talk like. And I've gone completely opposite in all those things. Um, and I feel like this song is like the ending. Actually, the second half of Suburbia is sort of like a, it's fun to break the mold. So that was a really long answer, but
No, that's great.
yeah, I think Suburbia, I've related it to the most times. I also like, I have that vinyl record. I have played that to oblivion. It
Yeah.
is played so many freaking times. I could never sell it. But yeah, like I love Suburbia. It's so much fun. And it's one of those, like you said, when they play at their shows, people love Greatest Generation, people love No Closer to Heaven. But when they play like Came Out Swinging, is when you see like stage dives and crowd surfing and like mild moshing, because it's pop punk. Um, you see people really unleash for those songs
Yeah.
because they're way more nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And it's the energy that these ones bring.
And it's
These
the
albums
energy.
definitely bring out that energy, right? It follows the what you would expect in the pop punk mold much more,
Absolutely.
right? So 100% I'm with you. Don't Let Me Cave In might be my favorite song off the
Great
album.
song. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. So
Great song.
where the upsides was really immature, talking about like we talked about Melrose Diner. It's like being in a really crappy relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
that. You're talking about like the kid with the dreads tells me he's smart on that. Like it's very like
Yeah.
immature high school and stuff like this.
Absolutely.
This is the album where all of a sudden like there's a lot of self reflection.
Yep.
Out of high school, traveling, doing your thing. You talk about Ride Out, Came Out Swinging, talks about sleeping in airports, like the troubles of being on the road, all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Like it starts setting in, but they're still young. They're still immature. They haven't experienced a ton of life to
Yep.
this point, which is like I said, it's exactly what follows your path. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So anyone who grew up with these albums, if you graduated 2008, 9, 10, like
Oh,
you
it was
know what
written
I'm
for
saying.
you. Yeah.
It was written for
It
you.
was written for you. Yeah.
So absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Agreed.
All these songs, like the living room song, I love.
Oh, great song.
Just like a
Yeah.
cheesy, like, but this was just so reminiscent of the
Totally.
stupid stuff that we would do. Like I had a friend named Charlie, and we used to go sit in his basement. He would pull out his acoustic guitar, start playing stuff, and we were singing super songs. You know what I mean?
That's fun.
It's
Yeah.
the stupidest high school
Yeah.
cheesiest thing that you could do, but this song just like it captures it. You know what
Totally.
I mean? So absolutely fantastic. Another great. You really can't like rank these albums. You know what I
They're
mean?
so hard. It's so hard because you're talking 10 out of 10 albums. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So I was a big fan of the Upsides. I was a big fan of Suburbia, but the album that pulled me in, and all of a sudden I was like, this band is going to be a staple,
Yeah.
influential, and will go down as one of the best bands in pop punk history,
Yeah.
is The Greatest Generation.
Absolutely.
This album caught me so off guard, so insanely off guard
Yeah.
with the lyrics, the way that they're talking about it. It's a
Yeah.
little bit more of a mature sounding pop punk. It's not quite as uh
It's not bouncy.
it's not
It's not like
bouncy.
it's not jumping up and down pop punk.
You
Yeah.
start to lose some of a little bit of that punk flair. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
So you start to lose some of that, but the storytelling just gets
Oh my gosh.
so insanely good. Like the way that he starts to talk about World War II, thinking about like the Cold War, like the bomb. What's the lyric where he says, "Waiting for the bombs to
Uh
fall"?
yeah, from Devil in My Bloodstream. Uh
It's not the devil in my
oh,
bloodstream.
it's not?
I don't think so. I think it's we could. Is it we could die like this?
Oh, it could
I,
be. There's actually several songs about like
I
understanding veterans in
yeah,
World War II. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's just absolutely, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And the devil in my bloodstream. That was the
Oh my
song,
gosh.
though.
Same.
That was the song where I heard that, and I was just like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
It took
I
me a
think that
minute,
was I think that was also the first Wonder Years song I like openly wept to. Cuz that song like got me good.
dude.
And I still
Insane.
cry to it. I still cry to it.
Oh, it's just like the way it starts out. You're driving through a field, you're going to a funeral, like you can literally like visualize this, you can picture it, you
Oh
can
yeah.
feel the emotion. Like you said, like if you're not welling up at some point listening to this song, like
Oh,
yeah, you did something wrong. So
seriously. Because the one thing that's so like we talked about, like you said, relatability in terms of like, oh my gosh, life's pretty crazy, life's pretty, wild. I don't really know what I'm doing. But the magic of the Greatest Generation, especially Devil in My Bloodstream, is this understanding of like, I have grandparents that fought in World War II, and I can barely get through having depression. Like that is the like I can't imagine how much tougher they are than me, and yet I'm still fighting every day of my life. It is such a fascinating like self war, like a war you have in your own heart of that understanding that people aren't talking about. That was beautiful about this record.
yes, absolutely. And what you just said there, the part where it picks up, where
Yeah,
all of a sudden he goes, I've got the same blood coursing through my veins. It'll come to me eventually.
yeah,
Like, and then all of a sudden he goes, I bet I'd be an effing coward.
absolutely.
Holy cow, man.
Gets me every time, dude. I have goosebumps right now talking about it.
Like, we've been watching, me and my wife were watching Band of Brothers.
Okay, great show.
And to think, like, my uncle's dad was a
Okay.
POW in World War II. Like we literally knew POWs
Wow.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My grandpa, he didn't fight in the war, but he was in England during that
Okay.
time. He came
Yeah.
over after World War II. Like
Mm.
the stuff that like they talk about, like straight up, like I can't even imagine it. And the crazy part is we live in a world today where there is threat of world war. Like
Absolutely.
if you sit and think about this right now in today's
Oh yeah.
world, how would you feel if all of a sudden you got called into a draft?
Oh seriously, dude.
Dude, I I bet I'd never have the guts for war.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that is like listen, call me a pussy, man. Like, I couldn't do it.
Oh dude.
And the
You know
crappy
who
thing
you're
is,
talking to? Yeah.
bro, we're like on the verge of that. And there's
Yeah.
people in the world who are living it. And it's just
Yes.
insane. And so, like,
Yeah, man.
Soupy standing up on stage, and when he's like, protect trans rights, do all
Yeah.
protect trans rights, protect each other. And then he's saying, free Palestine. He
Yeah.
stands with the people who are suffering, all the stuff happening in Gaza. Like, listen, I don't care what side you fall on it. Like, people should not be dying like that.
100%, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a political podcast. I'm not going to get into it, right?
Yeah.
But if you literally just take those lines, I bet I'd be an effing coward. I bet I'd never have the guts for war. Could you imagine being in a war torn country? And if you can just for like 1 second put yourself in like, man, I would not want to experience it that. And
Yeah.
there's people living it, that should be a gut punch for you. And it should
Absolutely,
be a
dude.
reality check for you. And he captures that so freaking hard with this. It's insane.
Absolutely. That was beautiful, dude. The thing that I have so much respect for with Soupy is that, in the music scene that we love, the alternative scene, yes, there's so much call to action for politics, for getting involved in all that stuff, but people are scared to do stuff because it could take away your paycheck. It could stop your record label from wanting to work with you, and it has. There's several people that have been dropped by labels for what they've said. But Dan Campbell is so unashamedly using his platform and has for years. I've seen several tweets lately, especially like the Warped Tour performance where he talked about Free Palestine, where it's like, yeah, good for the Wonder Years for saying something. And it's like, if you listen to the Wonder Years, they've been saying it for a long time. That's not
Oh
new.
yeah.
They've always been standing for people that need people standing for them. And I think that's like a point of the Greatest Generation, is that it's an understanding that we do have a different world than the generation that came before boomers that literally fought in wars, but our war doesn't change. Yes, it looks different, but the war is still the same. That's what I love about this record, is that the war doesn't always look like fighting the exact same people, but we're still fighting and we're still trying to do everything we can. So it really is, it's such a great message of this record and of that band too.
Yeah. 100%. And if you haven't seen the Warp Tour video, like go watch that. Like, what does he say? Like, I don't think they want me saying this, but they gave me a mic and now's
Yeah,
my time. And so he goes through and he
absolutely.
has a list of everything that he supports and stands up for. And it's the whole band. And so, kudos to them. Shout out to them. Listen, festivals keep booking them.
Absolutely.
They're going to continue to do it as long as people are going to give them a platform to do it. So,
And they're one of the biggest draws in pop punk right now. Like the Wonder
oh
Years
yeah.
plays anywhere and they sell out everything. It's great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Talk about selling out. I just want to sell out my funeral, man.
That was a great transition. Look at you.
Great transition. No, this song though,
Oh,
you talked about,
masterpiece.
dude. You talk about all my friends are in bar bands. Is there a better callback? Again, the
Oh
way
my
that
gosh.
the Dan Campbell is able
Yeah.
to consistently call things back and bring things back, and like he's like, remember that part in that song, and remember the story that I've been telling you. We're gonna summarize it all here. I just want to sell out my funeral. Totally wraps up that whole thing. First of
Yeah.
all, you're living in a depressive state, right? You're thinking about all these emotions. You're thinking about, he has a song about teenage parents, talking about like
Yep.
growing up and not having everything because of these teenage parents and stuff like that. And the only thing that you can say as you're dwelling on all these thoughts is, I just want to sell out my funeral. I hope that
Yeah.
someone's there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, such, we've all gone through depressive times.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, I just hope someone cared.
Absolutely.
I just hope someone cared, that not about me, but actually cared about my existence,
Totally.
which is such a weird thing to say, but it's a hard thought to live with,
Yeah.
right? Like, I just want to be enough for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
like
I think that's a
it's
that's a
just a
theme that plays through
weird.
several of the songs though. Is like you
Yes,
look at Passing Through a Screen Door, it's a great song about I get to play stages every night and I'm on tour, but when I go home, does anyone give a crap that I'm even there? Like that
exactly.
is such a fascinating concept. It really isn't talked about in music very much. So it's a
Exactly.
great concept. And
And
like you said, I Just Want to Sell My Funeral does it very well.
yeah, back to passing to a screen door. All my cousins go to bed with their wives. Like, I feel like I'm falling behind. Like,
Yep.
dude, I can't tell you, man. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got people like that, and they're just like, where do I stand? You know what I mean? Like, it's a real. The world we live in is a weird place. You know what I
Totally.
mean? So it's just interesting, man. And the Wonder Years. if you're thinking like that, go listen to the Wonder Years, because I'm sure that Dan has put it into words and lyrics and stuff like that.
Somewhere, yeah, dude.
You're not alone. You know what I mean?
It's perfect,
Let
yeah, dude.
let Soupy sing you your thoughts. So
That's the bumper sticker, dude. Let Soupy sing your thoughts.
bro, that is $1 million idea.
That is merch.
Dan,
That is
Dan
merch.
Campbell, the Wonder Years, hit us up. We will give it to you for 10 cents for each one you sell.
Dude, he's so funny. He'd love that.
Yeah. Cool. I love this album. Fantastic. Like
Great
I
album.
said, it's what solidified the Wonder Years for me as one of the top bands. And then we go to No Closer to Heaven. Listen, this episode's getting long already, but we're just going to keep going. You tell me when you've got to stop, bro.
Midnight will come, don't worry.
Okay. So, listen.
No Closer to Heaven, dude.
We're going to maybe I'll get an explicit mark on this episode for this thing, but you know the phrase, it's a grower, not a shower?
Yes. Is that what No Closer to Heaven is to you?
That's what this album was to me.
Oh, I'm so stoked. Yeah.
That's what, coming off of the Upsides,
yes,
Suburbia, and then the Greatest Generation.
Yes.
This album kind of came out of left field.
It did, 100%.
And it took me a minute. So the first time I put this in, I vividly remember this. I had just gotten married. This album came out, I guess not just gotten married. I got married in 2012. This was 2015. Right? So
yeah. I mean, just as relative. Yeah.
Sure. No kids yet. Let me think about this.
Okay.
Yeah, no kids yet. My wife's family got a condo in Park City for the weekend.
Okay.
I had to work, and so I was working on Friday and then driving up Friday night to stay with them.
Okay.
I bought this album to drive up with.
Okay.
And I pulled it out, I put it in, and I hear Brothers and Cardinal.
Aww.
Do. And I'm like, okay, this isn't pop punk.
Yeah, it's also not the Wonder Years. You're like, what the heck? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so what's next? Patsy Cline. And it's like a slow song. And I'm like, this isn't the Wonder Years. And so I'm like, I don't like this. And it wasn't until it was song number 4. I Don't Like Who I Was then.
Oh, great song.
And I'm like, okay, here's some semblance of what the Wonder Years were.
Yeah.
This is, once you get through that opening riff, it picks up the pace and it starts to feel a little bit more pop punkish.
Totally.
And I'm like, okay, I can listen to this. And then it goes to Cigarettes and Saints. And I'm like, no, I don't like it. And so like, I put this album away forever because I'm like, I love the Greatest Generation so much that I just put the Greatest Generation back in.
Okay.
So
I actually thought it was pretty common. I was there when it happened.
Really?
Like, because I was very like, they're one of my favorites. So I remember when the very first singles dropped for this album, and I went and bought the CD the day it came out. Because it was really polarizing. You had a lot of the pop punk kids, especially at this era. Because you have to remember time-wise, this is also when now you had The Stories So Far had become popular at this point, and so had Neck Deep and Knuckle Puck. So you had finger-pointing pop punk back in action, and people wanted bouncy and moshy and jumpy songs.
And that's
so
what I was
had the
into.
Wonder Years being so different than that too.
That's exactly what I was into. And so exactly what you said, it was just like, what was this? And what were the singles off this? Do you remember? I feel like
Stained Glass Ceilings and Cigarettes and Saints, I believe. I feel like there's one more.
Was it? Let's see. I'm trying to.
Cardinals, because there was a music video.
That's right. Cardinals was one of them. So
it was a weird video. I'm not going to defend the video. Great song, but the video is jogging.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. Like, I understand what they're doing.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, it's the metaphor and all that kind of stuff. Like, but yeah, it is a weird video. Like, Soupy shouldn't be carrying anyone.
No, he's so little.
He's so little. Right?
What I loved about No Closer to Heaven. Oh, wait, go back to what you were saying though. About, so you didn't like it the first time you listened to it. You tossed the Greatest Generation back in.
Dude,
then let's go back to that.
It took forever. I don't even remember when it took place that all of a sudden I was like, oh, I love this album.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, actually, I do, but I don't know what the time frame was on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the part there was they put out a video for stained glass ceilings with Let
Yes.
Live.
Yep.
Okay, and I was watching the music video, and this is again so cheesy, man. Like, listen, I
I'm
am
ready.
cheesy about the Wonder Years. Okay, for some reason, I paused the video and I went and
Okay.
I did something. And when I came back, the part that I paused it at is when so Let Live, what's his name? Uh,
Jason Butler.
Jason Butler, yeah. Jared Butler is the basketball player. Jason
Heck yeah.
Butler, he's screaming,
Yeah.
and there's just one frame where he's at the front of the frame, but he's blurry. And in the
Yeah.
background is their guitarist with the short hair and kind of the
Okay.
scruffy beard. And
Yeah.
he is smiling ear to ear,
Yeah.
looking at Jason Butler. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like they are having so much fun. Like they can't believe like what he's screaming about, what he's singing about. Like for
Yeah.
some reason, it was that moment where I was just like, okay,
I
like
love that.
it,
Yeah.
it all of a sudden clicked like this was the album that they wanted to write,
Yeah.
and it had a lot of meaning behind it. And that song specifically, like I said, I've gone through faith crises. I've
Yeah.
not know like I there's I this is gonna sound weird. I love anti-religious music,
Same.
but
That's why
like
we're friends, Trevor. That's
sure, right? Like, but I love like lyrics very
yeah.
specifically pointed at like screw religion, screw the people involved with it, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And the reason it's weird is because I'm religious, right?
Yeah.
Like we have religious backgrounds, we come from religious families, but I don't know what it is. I love anti-religious songs and like
Yeah.
themes and things like that. Like one of my favorite lyrics ever is from Dead and Divine, and I'm gonna butcher the lyric now. It's off
Okay.
of Intimacy. Uh, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll post it
Okay.
sometime.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it. But there's a song about just like anti-religious having like their fangs in their veins and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, and they have this very similar lyrics in this one. Stained
Yeah.
Glass Ceilings is that song,
Yep.
and the lyrics in this song hit me so hard just
Yeah.
for like someone who is struggling with that. Like I've got family who is no longer religious and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And this is what I imagine someone who goes through a faith crisis and falls away from religion goes
Yeah.
through.
Absolutely, dude.
If these mother effers made it to heaven, burn the bridge when they get across.
Yeah.
Leave me here. Screw you all. I don't
Yeah.
want to be part of you. Like, yeah, I get that. And
Yeah.
it hits hard, right? So
Absolutely, dude. That's why I actually love Cigarettes and Saints so much. Because it is, when
yes.
you're listening to the record, especially, Cigarettes and Saints is a low point in terms of tempo and mood. But the lyrics to Cigarettes and Saints are about how, you know, Soupy, whether I actually don't know if it's a true story or not, or the story he's just telling in the song, where he's at a funeral for a friend and a preacher is giving the sermon and he's like, does the preacher even care what he's saying? Did he even know who you were? Because you had this great life and I remember you more than anybody. But this guy in an outfit is saying that he knows who you are and he probably doesn't. And that's the interesting perspective on that song, because whether you're religious or not, I feel like that's really relatable. Of like
Yeah.
when you have someone in your life that passes away, you do get this like perspective of real and fake in how people talk to you and talk about that person. And it's very heavy. It's a very heavy subject, but Subi does such a good job of making it relatable and understandable.
Yeah.
The whole record's so good.
The this might be my favorite lyric. These wolves with their suits and ties saying, kid, you can trust me.
Yeah.
Charming southern draws, sunken eyes, buying goodwill in hotel lobbies, fistfuls of pills to make sure you don't hurt no more. You don't gotta feel anything. They got their fangs in their veins, in our veins, got their voice in our heads, got our arms in their grips. No, we can't shake free. Like it's just
Yeah,
like,
dude.
oh my gosh.
It's so good.
Like, yeah. And straight up, like, that is how I felt when I was pushing against religion. I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't tell me what to do. Like,
Yeah.
you can't fill me full of this stuff and just expect me to accept it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so it just, again, it just hits so hard. And I think that the subject matter in this, like, I think that that's why it's my favorite album.
Yeah.
I've got way too much family experience, personal experience, all
Totally.
that stuff with it, that it's just like, I hope that my kids, whatever path they choose, don't have to feel
Yeah.
stuff. But if they do, like, I hope that I can go and relate with them because I've
Yeah.
gone through it, listening to Soupy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
man. I feel like while I said Suburban is my favorite one, I've probably listened to No Closer to Heaven the most times. I feel like this is the one that I consider like the most like at home I feel of the Wonder Years records. Especially the song I Wanted So Badly to Be Brave. I feel like is such a banger first off. But
Okay.
also beautiful freaking song that is mad relatable.
So I just got done
Okay.
talking about how these guys are masters
Yeah.
at changing their songs and stripping, like, manipulating them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wonder Years, if this gets to you, I have been thinking about this for years, since
Okay.
2000, for 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got an idea for you for I Wanted So Badly to Be Brave that would be beautiful. Call me. I've got you. I'm not going to share it here because
Oh my gosh,
it is
Trevor.
too freaking good. I can tell you off the air, but
Okay. 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 Yeah.
like,
Dang. Teasing the people.
I have been picturing this for 10 years, man,
Okay.
since
Yeah.
this album came out. And you've seen Sin City,
Oh
the
yeah.
movie. It
Yeah.
has to do with Sin City. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
All right.
Intriguing, dude. Intriguing.
Teaser right there
Teaser. Love a
for
good
you.
teaser. Yeah, dude.
So,
Great song.
okay. Onward to, so this is what's weird, right? They're
Yeah.
going every, like, roughly every 2 years, right? So you go
Yeah.
2008, 2010, 2012, 2013, 2015. Then they take a little bit of a break and they hit Sister Cities in 2018. That's probably their biggest gap, if I was to
Yeah, I'd say
guess.
so. Yeah. Actually, is the
September.
one between Sister Cities and Hum longer?
Yeah, yes. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
but there was COVID in
But
there. I don't know
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when they actually wrote that or whatever, but
I don't
yeah.
either. I don't know the story of that very well.
Yeah, anyways. So Sister Cities.
Yes.
Okay. Back to my grower versus shower comment.
Yes.
This is not
Yes.
a bad album. But you said
Okay.
what went wrong with Sister Cities. I felt the same as you, but talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking.
I've never liked Sister Cities ever. I've tried it, like, and maybe it's because I don't know, like it was too slow for me. Because it is like a further progression of the Wonder Years. If you're a fan of the Wonder Years, you know for a fact every album will not sound identical. Yes, Suburban Upsides, that era does sound the same, but as time goes on, they evolve so much. And I think Sister Cities was same thing. Yeah, I would actually make the argument that's when I was in the era of wanting pop punk that was the story so far and neck deep and stuff. So I
Okay.
was like, it's too slow. I don't like it. So I've only listened to Sister Cities probably 3 times ever.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's not
Okay,
my
I'm gonna
favorite.
challenge you.
Okay.
Go back and listen. Because
Okay.
this to me is a Chris album.
Okay.
And that's why it actually
Interesting.
surprises me. Because,
Yeah.
like, I know why you love the Wonder Years. Like, we've talked
Yes.
about it. I understand it. Don't listen to it in the Wonder Years eyes.
Okay. Yeah. Great idea.
Like, you've got to just listen to it elsewhere. And, like,
As just like a good album. Yeah.
as just an album. And the reason
Yeah.
I say that is because, like, there's so many, like, alt rock, in almost like
Yes.
industrial, a little bit like starting
Yep.
to trend towards, if you put it in the right, like, setting, almost like that goth rock type of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there are moments in there. So that's why, like, I feel like that this would be such a Chris album
Yeah.
if it wasn't the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
And so like I
I
think
completely
that
see that.
and that's what I got caught up on too. It's the same
Yeah.
reason I didn't like No Closer to Heaven when it first came out. It was
Yep.
too different, too fast. The way that I actually got into Sister Cities is I love the Burst in Decays. I
Yes.
love them. And
Absolutely.
they've reimagined quite a few of these songs
They have. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
on Burst in Decay. Because of that, I've learned lyrics. I've started to relate to them. All of
Okay.
a sudden, now there's a little bit more of an emotional attachment.
Yep.
Raining in Kyoto is
Oh,
an
I do love that song.
oh, dude, it's an incredible song.
Yep.
And is this the one where uh it might not be this one.
Okay.
What that's the one where he's talking about being on the train, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it is that one. And yeah, it's just like it's an incredible song. So I love that song. It Must Get Lonely is really good. Sister Cities is really good.
Yeah.
And again, like Pyramids of Salt, this is the one that like I'm talking about where I'm like,
Okay.
this feels like it's like a Chris song to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just with what they're doing, the textures
Yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
kind of that slow electronic sounding
Yeah. A
intro
little
and stuff like
industrial
that.
sounding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, take it out of
I.
the wonder you're setting and try it again.
That's a great idea. I will absolutely do that.
So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it because I'm like you. I didn't really give this album a huge shot
Yeah.
initially.
It was also like it was 2018, right?
Yeah,
Is when it came out. I feel like a lot of the right before the pandemic stuff happened, we like forgot a lot of things got released. Because honestly, like Sister Cities came out, and then I
yes,
just like listened to it a couple times, and then I would just go back to the old stuff, and I like forgot Sister Cities even existed for a
yes,
long time. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
it's actually the song that I was thinking of. It wasn't Raining in Kyoto. Raining in
Oh,
Kyoto
okay.
is the train song, but they also do We Look Like Lightning.
Yes, okay. I remember that one.
So, and the lyric that stood out to me was there's a shaking voice on the PA. The other passengers seem nervous. Which song do you want to die to? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
And suddenly I'm aware of our speed. And it's just like,
yeah,
it was just like a visceral thing. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like, and here's the thing, like, it's not necessarily like the plane's going to crash, the train's going to crash. Like that could be
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
something, right? But this feels like a panic attack to me.
yeah.
Like I've had panic attacks like that where all of a
Same.
sudden things sound shaky. People around you seem nervous, even though it's you that's nervous and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're saying I'm all of a sudden I'm aware of our speed. Have you ever been in the car and all of a sudden you look down and you're like, oh, I'm going 90 miles an hour. Oh crap,
Yep.
I'm going 90 miles an hour.
Yeah,
You know
dude.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just a visceral reaction to it. And it wasn't until, like I said, Burst in Decay, where I was listening to the lyrics. All of a sudden, I started singing with the lyrics, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
wow, I really like that lyric." And then I
Absolutely.
started to kind of get back into it. And so,
Okay.
like, if it again, the Kings of the Reimagine and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Uh, if you are like us and you don't think this album is very good, go and try it again
Yep.
and look at it through a different lens. I will say it's down towards the bottom. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, this is number 2, number 3. No,
Oh,
not
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's definitely down there, but it's a good album.
Absolutely.
So I'm all for it.
I think even they would recognize that they only play like a couple songs off of it. So
I think that's an album for them. You know what I
yeah, I
mean?
agree.
Like this was the time where, or this was an album where you're done with pop punk,
Yep.
right? Like what's what is the state of pop punk at that time?
Oh
Like
my gosh, it was so stale. So it makes complete sense. And do you remember too? This is around the era where he started Aaron West in the Roaring Twenties,
I
and so
love
he was.
Aaron
Well,
West.
it's also like that's when he's trying to do a completely different sound. It's hard when you're doing two different sounds to not actually have them like cross over.
Yeah,
So yeah, it made total sense too.
yeah.
Aaron West
So
rules. Yeah,
this, it's interesting. I think that they were trying to shed the pop punk
yeah,
persona a little bit at that time, being like, look, we are mature,
yeah.
Like,
We're
listen,
not for the 16-year-olds anymore.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
listen, again, I've gone through that phase. I've gone through
Yep.
the like I can't wear band tees anymore. I've got to wear
Right.
normal clothes. Like I can't squeeze into these size too small jeans. So, yeah. Anyways, that's how I felt about this album.
Yeah.
Overall though, now I actually really like it. And there was a minute there where you could buy the deluxe edition of the vinyl
Yes.
for
For
like
so cheap.
next to nothing because no one
Yeah.
wanted it. And there were so many
Exactly.
times where I was like, I might get that. And I just never pulled the trigger. And now you can't get it.
Now they're not
So,
available. This
yeah.
is right though. Like Trevor said, I think it was like $15
Yeah.
for
And
the for like the deluxe edition.
it was beautiful too.
It
Like
was.
I almost bought just for the artwork because it looked just
Yeah.
so cool.
The artwork's very good.
Yes, it was great. So I almost got it just for that. And I
Yeah.
just never did. And now I kind of regret it, kind of thing. So,
Dude, I have a whole list of records like that where I'm like, oh, it's on sale constantly. I'll grab it someday. Never did.
and
Now they're reselling for $300. So
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
So, the hum goes on forever.
Yes.
The last one, and then we can kind of just touch on the burst into case. If you listen to them, if you don't, then whatever. But what do you think about this album? When this album came out, all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is a bit of a return to form, right? Immediately it caught my attention where the last two albums didn't immediately catch my attention. So that was much better. But then I started like putting it out to people and they're like, yeah, it's just kind of meh. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are kind of crazy. So what did you think about this?
So I was really cynical when they were announcing The Hum Goes On Forever because I didn't like Sister City. So I was like, I'm sure it's gonna suck. And then the first single, what was the first single? Do you remember?
Wyatt song?
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is kind of great. And then what I really love about The Hum Goes On Forever that I came to just adore about that record is it's not pop punk, it's not pop rock, it's not indie. It's just kind of its own thing. The Wonder Years kind of carved out their own style that I have so much appreciation for because in the world of pop punk, in scene music in general, you get people making the same record every 2 years. Like Newfound Glory rocks, but probably 8 of the albums you could easily confuse for each other.
Oh, 100%.
Like we came as Romans rocks. 4 of the albums all sound the same. But like the Wonder Years with The Hum Goes On Forever is when I was like, they don't need a label. Not a label. They don't need like a sticker to say this is pop punk. They don't need something to just say, oh, this is now soft rock or whatever. It was just like, I really liked that The Hum Goes On Forever was just sort of this milkshake of their styles in the past all put together into one, which actually was kind of like a post-pandemic things a lot of scene bands did. But when I listened to Hum Goes On Forever for the first time, I was like, all right, I'm back. I'm into it. This is great. Wyatt's song is really good. What was the second single? That's when I was like, this rocks.
I don't really remember all this.
I don't either.
It was Low Tide.
It was Low Tide. It was Low Tide.
It was Low Tide, actually.
Yeah,
I do remember.
Those were great. So yeah, I actually really like this record. And like you said too, this is like we're dads. We have adult problems now. We still have problems, but they're adult problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this one?
It's exactly what you said. This is the perfect culmination album.
Yeah.
Like they call back their pop punk roots. They still pull in some of kind of the weirdness of like, so Cardinal 2 could have been on the last album that we just Sister Cities. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just kind of a weird out there album. Then you get a song like Laura and the Beehive. And you're like, okay, like that could have been on The Greatest Generation. You know what I mean? Like a song about like a grandma and stuff like that, like easily could have slotted into something in there. Totally. So it's the perfect culmination album that they could have put out.
Yeah.
The lyrics are fantastic.
Fantastic.
They're absolutely relatable for this point of life. You don't want to hear a nearly 40-year-old man singing about failed relationship, like failed stupid relationships anymore. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear about them singing about their memories. You want to hear about them singing about their kids. You want the Paris to Nowhere and stuff like that. We tried to say Nick Foles. Like, I remember, here's the thing. They're from Philly, and Nick Foles won the Super Bowl for them. and he was all the rage. And he was not that great of a quarterback. But you say that to a Philadelphia person,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
gonna curse you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's just like this is so pertinent to an
Yeah.
adult person who's again representing their hometown with the call out to Nick Foles, talking about it's just everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you could have imagined from the Wonder Years, from talking about their hometown, being with their friends, now moving on to their families, but still reminiscing about like their early childhood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could not ask for anything else.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, like here's the thing: I said No Closer to Heaven, The Greatest Generation, Suburbia, and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
you'd have to put this in 3 with those. Like
Absolutely.
I couldn't say anything else.
Yeah.
Like there are times where this could be my favorite album from the Wonder
Totally.
Years, and to be 7 albums in, and to
Yeah.
say that your latest album could be your best album,
Yeah.
pretty damn good.
Huge deal.
That's
Especially
pretty
because
insane.
like one thing about the Wonder Years too, you have to remember is a lot of us have nostalgia for those earlier albums, and that can kind of cloud your judgment for like, oh, the Upsides is so good. When it's like, if you were to listen to the Wonder Years for the first time as an adult, you probably would gravitate to the Hum Goes On Forever the
Yeah.
most of any of them. Like if you were brand new to this whole band, you're like, okay, I get it, they were kids, and you listen to the Hum, you're just like, okay, this freaking is great. It
Yeah.
rocks. And the influences for that record are really good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Huge fan.
Yeah.
Do you listen to Burst and Decay?
I've listened to each one at least once. I listened to the first one a lot, and then they kind of like as they went on, just because, like I said, it was like I'd just rather listen to the regular version, and so
Really?
yeah, so a lot of it was just like, okay, I get it, and then I'd be like, I'm good. That's just a Chris thing though. That's no shade to the Burst and Decays because I think they're great.
So I'll be honest. I think that the Burst and Decay versions of the majority of the songs are better.
That's crazy, but I believe you. Yeah,
Like, and here's the thing. I think that it's again, it kind of comes back to, and I don't want to just be like, I've matured, right?
yeah,
But I listen to those other ones so much and I have so much
yeah,
nostalgia tied to them that as soon as I hear those in a different setting, like I like to sing along with the Wonder Years.
totally.
And the Burst and Decay versions slow it down to where I can catch my breath. I don't have
Absolutely.
to sing
Yeah,
a super high soupy from the
yeah,
Upsides where I can't keep up with him on Melrose Diner and stuff
seriously.
like that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm down for this. And
yeah,
again, like I said, I think that hearing the songs in these settings
yeah,
also provided like additional like insight into the lyrics. You know what I
totally.
mean? It changed the context of them. It made me feel different about them. And so I am a absolute massive fan. I think my favorite might be number 2.
Okay.
Yep, for sure. It's number 2. You got Washington Square Park. Again, I
Yep.
wanted so badly to be brave. This
Yeah.
is again where it started the
Your
stuff
idea, your
going.
concept. Yeah.
Yep. Even the song "It Must Get Lonely," I love that song,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
dude. So good.
The
But
thing I really
then,
like about the
yeah,
Wonder Years with Burst and Decay, I'm so sorry to interrupt,
no, you're good.
is that they understand that there's a balance to doing those shows and doing the pop punk shows.
Yes,
Because so many bands, you almost get scared of like, oh man, they're gonna just do acoustic stuff now, because it has happened. But like the Wonder Years knows for a fact we're making them two different experiences. Like we want people to enjoy both.
right.
Sorry to interrupt though. Yeah.
No, dude, you hit it spot on. Like I sincerely appreciate you saying that because that's exactly right. It's a different experience,
Yeah.
right? You can go and see the Wonder Years like we saw them in a club, 200, 300 people kind of thing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Couldn't ask for more. I would also love to go and sit in a theater chair and watch them perform a Burst in Decay set.
Right.
Would be fantastic because again, the
Absolutely.
storytelling aspect, listening to Dan just up there talking and stuff like that. You listen to Live from New York, so good, so
Yeah.
good. And then the last one that just came out, number 3, I love that they put already some of like the hum goes on. Excuse me, the hum goes on forever on there. Like
Yeah.
Junebug is such a cool song, but then Wyatt's interlude to Wyatt's song, where
Yeah.
there's the heartbeat.
Yes, which is super cute, by the way.
Dude, so freaking good. So good, man. So, no, I'm a massive, massive fan of the Wonder Years. I'm sorry we didn't go into like any history about them or anything like that. The music's too good not to just talk about the
The music's
music.
too good. And literally, like you said, this episode could have been like 6 hours long.
Oh, for real. For freaking
Yeah.
real.
I
And
feel like we actually it felt like it zoomed by.
I know. And like
Yeah.
I tried, because again, I could almost go track by track and just talk about these guys.
Oh,
So
seriously.
I had to constrain myself somewhat. It's still an hour and 20 long. Tell me if I just rambled, like just put it in the comments kind of thing.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like it was fairly coherent, but I know that this band is very polarizing. There's some people who love them, like you and I. There's some bands or some people who hate them, like Kyle. But Kyle will go see these guys live. This is a live band for Kyle. Not a
and they're a great live band, by the way.
Oh,
if you've never seen the Wonder Years, those shows are nuts.
Fantastic. Insanely good. So, but that's all I got. You got anything else on here? Anything else?
No, man, just that the Wonder Years rock. They, like I said, they've been putting out consistently good music, and their shows are always so good. And there's a chance they're going to be near you at some point. They're a very actively touring band. So if you do get the chance, or like Trevor said, you can watch the Warped Tour video on YouTube if you're not into going to shows. It's worth seeing them because it adds another layer to their brilliance when you realize it's not just fluff in a studio. They're genuinely great live because the energy is nuts.
Yeah. This is the one other thing I didn't say that I wanted to bring up. They are a 3-guitar band. And musically, the layers that they put into their music, it's just so interesting because of that dynamic. Like, if you go watch them, everyone's doing something different. Like, it's not just like straight, everyone's playing the same thing. They are doing different things, and you can hear it. There's layers to these guys. So, like musically, not just lyrically. So, you know, again, I could talk all day about the lyrics, about the band, the music, anything about it. Forever. So,
you ready? I got one more thing to say about the Wonder Years. If you look at pop punk history, because we all are, it's basically School of Rock, this podcast. The whole wave of the story so far, Neck Deep, Knuckle Puck, sort of new school 2010s pop punk would not exist without the Wonder Years. Because after you had the neon pop punk era, like All Time Low, The Main, all that stuff kind of die in popularity, you only had basically like 3 bands that tried to keep pop punk alive. And so you had like the Wonder Years and Man Overboard that were not trying to sound like All Time Low, but were actively still making pop punk. And then once you hit like 2011 is where you get the story so far that was like, we're starting a whole new style of it. So you really if the Wonder Years is polarizing or not, I completely agree. But they're also a band that you got to give some flowers to, that like they kept it going when there basically wasn't a heartbeat for a lot of it.
And listen, man, you're leaving out one of, again, probably one of my top 5 favorite bands, 4 Year Strong, man.
Oh, totally.
Like, again, that is a band that has changed and grown and developed their sound and stuff like that. They don't have, like, their lyrics are great, but it's not the same emotional hit.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
Right? But that band has consistently held it down. If you wanted to go to a pop punk show, it doesn't matter what album was coming out. They played bangers off of Rise or Die Trying. They played bangers off of Enemy of the World. You got your pop punk fix going to that. So shout out to these bands that like they brought the pop punk energy. You know, Newfound, The Wonder Years, 4 Year Strong. Those are going to be like my top 3 pop punk bands. Like close behind is The Story So Far, but I didn't get into them as much until later. So. Kind of interesting, but yeah. Again, I tried to wrap this up, but one last comment I have. There was a period right around 2011, 2012, where Midwest emo started blowing up a ton, and I actually think that the Wonder Years, Dan Campbell, directly impacted all these bands trying to come up with everyday conversation.
Oh, I agree.
And put it into some sort of digestible format.
Totally. Yeah.
And they did it so bad. I am not a Midwest emo fan. And listen, go listen to this is good. This is like listening to someone like expressing themselves and all that kind of stuff. Listen, the only Midwest emo that I really like is what are they called? They had Talon of the Hawk with the front bottoms. Yeah, that was
That's the only one you like. That's the only funny.
One. And I'll get crap for that. But
you're right. You have bands like Modern Baseball and Mom Jeans that like use super specific lyrics, and that would not exist without the Wonder Years.
Yeah, so. And then you have, if you want to take like that Midwest emo feel with the pop punk feel, you had the Knuckle Pucks. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like they just tried to copy the Wonder Years, but then tried to put a little bit of a different flair onto it. I'm not a Knuckle Puck fan, so you can probably tell.
Knuckle Puck is the Wonder Years with big glasses. Exactly. Yeah.
I've seen Knuckle Puck like 4 or 5 times, never meaning to see the Knuckle Puck. I've never intentionally gone to see Knuckle Puck.
That's so funny.
Anyways,
yeah, dude.
Shout out to the people who like Knuckle Puck, but
shout out Knuckle Puck. Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm gonna end it there. Otherwise, we're gonna just keep going. So seriously. I appreciate you, my man. We'll get you back. We'll what was the episode? We were talking about doing an episode, the first of this. I don't know.
About blood on the dance floor?
Oh yeah, cutting ourselves. That's right.
Yeah.
So all right.
I almost made a joke. I won't. Yeah, dude. It's always fun to be on Pit Therapy. You guys know I love you.
Oh well, we love you too, man. I appreciate you. We will catch you next time. Peace.
Bye, guys.